Welcome, everyone, to the second leg of the Firestone Triple Crown. Welcome, everyone, to Michigan International Speedway. The Chevrolet 500 awaits us here. Part 2 of a doubleheader for the Champ Car competitions. The Challenger Series at Nazareth just took place about half an hour ago. For those that missed it, we're not going to spoil it on air. There's an encore of it on ABN Sports coming up tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We are going to jump in to Michigan International Speedway, though. A fantastic racetrack. First time back in several years for the Champ Car World Series. And it is a very interesting group. 33 cars lining up to take the field here. A bit of a surprise considering who all is in the field today. Again, the Challenger Series race took place just a little bit ago in Nazareth Speedway. Some Challenger Series drivers were not in that race. We'll go over that here in just a moment. Obviously, we had an impromptu off week. Obviously, the hurricane situation that's affecting the Pacific, that affected the Pacific Northwest a week ago put a kibosh on a return to Portland International Raceway. This is now race 15 of the season. An extra road course race will be put into the end of the season. We'll head back to Indianapolis for a race on the road course for the first time since 2020. And that'll be the last road course race of the season on September 29th for the full-time Champ Car World Series grid. So same amount of races in the season. This has just moved up one race, and it's going to be very important for drivers that are trying to put themselves in championship competition. Evangeline Porter enters this race after, again, another steady race at Denver 2 weeks ago. A 42-point advantage for Porter going into this race over Wyatt Jones. Evangeline Porter, 7 top 5s, 13 top 10s out of 14 starts. Porter's only non-top 10 race was Homestead Miami. She's been top 10 every other race in the season. Wyatt Jones, obviously, his win at the Indianapolis 500 has catapulted him into this conversation. 3 top 5s, though. 8 top 10s. Struggling for the same consistency as Porter's been showing here this season. Mia Valdez rounds out a Ford trifecta. 3 different Ford teams as well. Valdez, 49 points adrift of Porter going into this race, a race win as well, winning a Homestead Miami, and a better record than Wyatt Jones. Just when things are bad, they're worse for Valdez. 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s for the 2014 world champion, trying to win a championship 10 years after her first. BK Glover just outside the one race gap, 56 points behind Porter. Another race win as well. He won at Texas, his home track. 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s. It's been a very quiet season, though, for Glover, despite 2 pole positions and 256 laps led, just struggling to find the same form of consistency. His Team Impulse teammate, Artyom Kozlov, in the top 5 in points, as well as Kozlov was last year. 5th in points, 72 points behind, though. Needing to put it together. This would be a good place to do so if you're Kozlov. Nicole Lechty, the defending world champion, up to 6th place after a phenomenal performance. Not only a phenomenal performance to grab a race win a couple weeks ago, but a phenomenal performance to also back that up last time out of Denver as well. Sakura Ishibashi in 7th place as well. Remember, Lechty won in Kentucky. Ishibashi won earlier this year as well. Won at Mid-Ohio. That's put her in the top 10 in points. 98 points adrift, though. Basically a full 2-race gap behind Porter, but in the top 10 with some momentum as well. Only 1 top 5, that race win in Mid-Ohio. 8 top 10s, though, showing that there is some signs of consistency and momentum generating for that 33 camp. Elise Alexander, top 8 in points, 98 points adrift as well. Level with Ishibashi without the wins and with way less laps led. Ishibashi's led 300 laps in this season. Alexander's led 6. Mateus Mitchell in 9th place in points, 103 points back. Thomas Rogers in the 10th position, sitting with 2 race wins at the start of the season, but has not been able to match that form at all since. and you see that he's been slipping down 4 positions just based off of the last couple races between Denver and Kentucky here. So Rogers needing to find some form. Stephanie Porter Kelly still looking for that 47th career win, 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s. She's been pretty consistent on that front. 1 pole position. This season started extremely rough for Porter Kelly, but the surge is on for car 60 in this race. We'll go over the starting grid here momentarily. Porter Kelly could be a big part of that here today. Cameron Jackson in 12th ahead of Kaki Kobayashi. Natalia Vulicevic and Alicia Kovalkiewicz sitting top 15. The conversation piece, though, going into this point with realistically 9 races to go in the season, relegation zone for the Champ Car World Series. It is not pleasant being below 20th place, and it's very apparent in that. Esther Hofson currently sitting in last place in the entry standings that are subjected to the relegation zone. The 28 car for Dragon Motorsports sitting 26th with 150 points. The 97, the the Arrowhead racing car of Siri Lundqvist, already making up some ground here. Lundqvist gained 18 points in that conversation to try to rally the 97 car out into safety with these 9 races to go. Marcus Petrovic, the 21 car, is in danger. 25th for the 21. 166 points. 16 points clear of Hofson, but in danger right now, sitting 25th behind the 97 car of Lundqvist, who is starting top 4 here today. Once again, a phenomenal effort in qualifying for the Super Suite. Asher Crane sits just above Siri Lundqvist in this conversation piece, but it's not by much. Crane, 23rd in the standings as things currently run. Not pleasant as things are, but not far away from that cut line. Anastasius von Sonen, the last driver currently in safety with 204 points. Julia Takani with 232, even further away, a full race distance away from the relegation zone. Shifan Zhang also further away from that in 19th place in the points as things stand. So really, it's a 5-car conversation for 4 relegation zone spots. Remember, the Challenger Series, top 4 entries in the Challenger Series have the ability to take promotion up. So as things sit, Arrowhead Racing have a hand in both baskets. Everyone else scrambling to keep themselves out and away from that danger, as it's assumed that at least one of those other 4 cars in the Challenger Series will say yes to the promotion opportunity. And right now, Esther Hofson would be the odd one out as things sit going into 2025. A lot to go into this race here, and the bottom of your screen, the ticker at the bottom of your screen, has been going over the starting grid here. So let's go ahead and get into that, because that's going to be also very interesting as we get ready for this, the 15th race of the season. Nicole Lehti, Stephanie Porter Kelly, they are front and center, front row of the field. Lehti once again on pole position. Both Chevrolet cars trying to make a charge here as this season begins to enter the final end game here in 2024. Hazel Leon, Siri Lundqvist, they sit in row number 2. Alicia Kovalkiewicz and Simona LaRose sit in row number 3. Great qualifying efforts for all of those cars. Very pressure-packed and intensified race here at Michigan coming up. Asher Crane, we talked about how important it is for Lundqvist, how important it is for Crane. Qualifying well, also vital here. Crane qualified 7th and will start alongside Sakura Ishibashi in row number 4. The top 10 is earmarked and capped off by Natalia Vulicevic and Mia Valdez. Vulicevic, a race winner just 2 weeks ago at Denver. We still have not had a repeat winner since Thomas Rogers opening the year. Out of 14 races, 13 different race winners. Can we go 14 to 15, or do we finally get that breakthrough in another repeat winner? Elise Alexander and BK Glover sit just outside the top 10 in row number 6. Evangeline Porter and Artyom Kozlov Evangeline Porter, Mia Vitsut, row 7. Artem Kozlov and Julia Takani, row 8. That is 15th and 16th on the grid for them. Wyatt Jones, we talked about how difficult it is to make up space on Porter. Once again, qualifying behind the 81. Wyatt Jones 2 rows behind, starting in row 9 alongside Matthias Michelin. And then we start looking at some of the drivers that have made it from the Challenger Series to race here in Michigan. Seth Smith Jr., the Swift Autosport representative for the team. Felicia Zappa in that promotion fight in the Challenger Series. Seth Smith Jr. very much not in that conversation, making a trip to start at his home racetrack, Michigan International Speedway. He's alongside Kaka Kobayashi in row 10. He's the best of the Challenger Series drivers that are making this attempt here today. Thomas Rogers and Sonia Walker, a driver very familiar with Michigan International Speedway, also present here in row 11. Walker making that jump. Same with Mia Vitsut in the World Series start here. Both of them also qualified for the Indianapolis 500 and raced back in May. Shufan Zhang, Andrew Draco, they're in row 12. David Wessel and Catherine Hart in row 13. All three Phantom Motors cars very compacted together, so you know they're really closely aligned. David Wessel, his 4th start of the season after filling in for Andrew Draco for a couple races when he was hurt in Melbourne. On top of his start at the Indianapolis 500, once again in the 41 car, he starts in 25th. Marcus Petrovich behind row 13. He starts alongside Cameron Jackson. That's your top 28. Valerie Fang and Esther Hobson in row 15. Fang failed to qualify for the Indy 500. Did not have such complications here. Starts 29th place alongside Hobson. Bianca Lucero and Rika Venäläinen for Obsidian Racing Team. Both those cars starting here instead of racing in the Challenger Series race at Nazareth. Neither of them obviously in contention for any promotion spots at all, despite Venäläinen's win at Phoenix in the Challenger Series. Lucero will move over to the Challenger Series beginning next week in Gateway. Anastasius von Sonnen once again could not fill his 10th-place grid penalty that he's been holding on since the Champ Car World Series race at Nazareth back in May. He'll start 33rd in this race as everything continues to implode just a little bit on the Austrian driver, who continues to race his way forward and has been phenomenal in that effort. Von Sonnen, a podium finisher here at Homestead. So he has some hardware this season and trying to clean that with your life. We've been able to talk over a lot of things going into this race. It's almost time for that command to fire engines, those most famous words in all of motorsports. For those tuning in to ABN's coverage of the Champ Car World Series in the Chevrolet 500, thank you so much for joining us here for an action-packed day on Independence Day weekend here in the U.S. For those around the world, enjoy the sights and sounds of 500 miles of racing, lap times close to 220 miles an hour. Leave one over to the microphones, so let's send a track side for those most famous words.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the sight of 33 Champ Car machines begin to roar to life. Almost 20,000 horsepower. Is the defending world champion, Nicole Lechty, that leads us to green. Alongside the 3-time world champion, Stephanie Porter Kelly. Bunch of championships in this field. One for Lechty, one for Leon, 3 for Porter Kelly. We have 3 NAMRA Cup Series championships for Wyatt Jones, starting this race further on back the order. Sports car world titles as well. And it will be a firefight here in Michigan International Speedway. 2 miles, similar to that of Auto Club Speedway, but very different in how it's proposed and how it's put together. 33 cars will attack it now. Green flag flies. The Chevrolet 500 is underway, and Lecty off to a lightning start. Already approaching turn number 1, 190 miles an hour. It does not take long for these tires and cars to get up to speed here. They'll touch 225 miles an hour in no time at all. They've just passed it now, almost 230 into turn 3. It is Lecty out in front. Racing once again at Michigan International Speedway. Chevrolet, Ford, and Chevrolet, your top 3 before you find 2 Toyotas. Teammates there, that is Lundqvist being passed by Kovalkiewicz. And slotting in front of another Chevrolet of Simona Leroux. Chevrolets and Fords, all of them really good on these high-speed ovals. We saw that in Indianapolis. We saw it at Kentucky as well. Chevrolet this weekend announced a change of their powertrain format from the turbocharged V8 that you find in the Chevrolet Corvette pipeline to a twin-turbo V4. That'll be introduced in 2025, along with Dodge joining the series for the first time. Arrowhead Racing announces a factory team for Dodge after 2 years with Toyota engines. They'll move to Dodge 2025. So far, it's been lightning in a bottle for Arrowhead Racing, with Lundqvist now joining the fold, her experience on top of that of Kovalkiewicz. They team up for the first time. Remember, Lundqvist came back in 2020 after Kovalkiewicz got hurt in the Lausitz Ring crash. They have not been teammates together. They've only shared the same car intermittently. But now actually teammates here and working together as the front 2 Arrowhead Racing cars sit 4th and 5th. Simona Leroux also needing a good result. Had a chance at a decent result last time out in Denver. And look at Asher Crane sitting 7th at the moment. This is a big time moment for Crane, showing some gumption here at Michigan. Crane right now sitting in that 7th spot ahead of Elisevich, ahead of Ishibashi and Valdez. That's your top 10 as things run. All of that's running at the top of your screen as well. Alexander, Glover, Kozlov, Porter 14th. Wyatt Jones just behind in 15th place. And then you find Mia Vitsut and Seth Smith Jr., who's already up a couple spots, now in 17th. He's gotten around Michelin. There's Takani in 19th place, and Shufan Jang, car 20, in position 20. As things currently run, Shufan Jang going below the white line. That is legal. You can make that move happen. However, entering turn 1, you need to be up a little bit higher on the racetrack. This track not evenly banked. That very bottom lane a little bit flatter, almost like a transitional line between the apron below the white line and the rest of the racetrack. You see the rubbered in groove, that darkened groove. That's the line everyone's been running this weekend. Everyone trying to use those fresh tires a little bit early, see if they can make something happen. You saw 2 of the Phantom Motors cars, all 3 of them here, separated just by Sonia Walker. That's Catherine Hart on the wrong side of that. Cameron Jackson down in 27th. Marcus Petrovich 28th. 29th, Valerie Fang. Bianca Lucero battling with Esther Hofson right now. There's Anastasius von Sonnen already up 1 spot, having gotten around Rika Venäläinen, making her World Series debut here this weekend. All 33 cars, though, running and in full song. 232 miles an hour. That is how much speed they carried into turn 3. Hazel Leon trying to find a way around the Iron Maiden, Nicole Lechty, who has led 9 laps of this race. Fastest lap belongs to Hazel Leon there, 31.875. That's a 227.2 mile-an-hour lap. They are blisteringly quick here in Michigan. Similar aero configuration to what they used in the Challenger Series race at Fontana earlier this year. A little bit more trimmed out to prevent some of that pack racing that we saw last time we were here at Michigan International Speedway. You see some of the cars moving throughout the field here. Wyatt Jones now watching as Porter gained a spot on Kozlov. Porter now up to 13th place in this conversation. These are blisteringly quick times. Everyone chasing the slipstream down the back straightaway. Velisevich struggling to get around Asher Crane. Theoretically, Velisevich has a development advantage over Crane. But the Good Smile Raspberries car really holding the fort down for Honda. Sitting right now in that 7th spot and not completely losing touch of the top 6. And the further down you look, you can see where the really big gap is here. Michelin trying to find a way around Mia Vitsu. As you see, there's Seth Smith Jr. as well. There's Julia Takani in this conversation too. Wyatt Jones at 15th, though. He knows that that's not going to be enough to cut it. Porter got to the outside of Glover for the 12th spot. Outside lane prevailing for Porter right now, the championship leader. Making some inroads here, not too far away either from Mia Valdez. She's passed 2 of her main championship contenders right now. Valdez is the 3rd. And Valdez only 2 spots above, only 2 points gained at the moment as things stand. Elise Alexander in 11th, just outside the top 10. As you see the top 3 beginning to separate just a little bit from the 4th place of Kovalkiewicz and the 5th place of Lundqvist there. You know how good Chevrolet and Ford, though, are at these kinds of races, expecting a little bit more of the same at Fontana at the end of the season, and at Atlanta later on in September as well. Spoke with Stephanie Porter-Kelly, who is soon to screen that Sunoco number 60 machine, about the gut punch that was Kentucky Speedway. Led 90 laps of that race, dominated the first half of that race flawlessly. Caution came out, pinned Porter-Kelly out of contention while on pit lane. And Porter-Kelly said that was the most confident gut punch she had ever received in her career so far, having a car so good that it was able to dominate a track that has largely been impossible to dominate at. Porter-Kelly said, this 60 car, the way it's been set up, the way it's been developed over the course of the season, went from being the worst car she's driven to one of the best. The biggest question mark for Porter-Kelly, who else has had the exact same experience so far? Hazel Leon jumping into the 32 car, already a race winner for that 32 car. Leon looking for her first win back in Champ Car, replacing Judy Kanoshta, who is out for the rest of the season after being hurt at Homestead. A little bit different conversation for Leon, who is trying to get back up to speed as quickly as possible at some of these high-speed ovals. Leon, after practice, made the comment, she's never gone this fast at Michigan National Speedway. She's never really had a chance to race here. She was a test driver last time we were here. The F1 cars don't touch these speeds. For Leon, she spent almost 2 years in Europe racing in Formula One for Alpine. Her biggest struggle has been developing that muscle to handle the G-forces that you see at these ovals. 227 at the start-finish line. They're touching 230 plus into turn 1 and into turn 3 consistently. Looking at the live meters that we have here in some of these drivers, they're peaking out at 5.1 Gs in the corners. That is no slouch, and they're doing this twice a lap for 250 laps. Lightning speeds that we're seeing right now as the top 6 stay close together and have peeled away just a little bit more from Asher Crane's number 80 machine, that Honda. Underdeveloped, but punching well over its weight class at the moment in the top 10, securely at the moment. Pit stops will change that surely, as Ishibashi takes a look to the inside of the 7 of Velicevic here, trying to make a pass happen. On the inside lane, not typically what we see here, or what we have seen here. Typically it's the outside lane that's been better. I believe we're going to see a little bit more of that here in turn 1 as Velicevic just drives back around the outside. But it shows what these drivers are battling at the moment. We're not going to have the pack race environment we saw back in 2018 and 2019. We're going to have ourselves a methodical race. Over 250 laps and 500 miles. We've already completed 20 of those laps. Your World Championship leader, Evangeline Porter, sitting center of your screen. 10th through 15th, all in this group. All the way from Mia Valdez to Wyatt Jones. Again, it is Nicole Lechty, the defending world champion, at the front. Looking for the back, that is Mia Vitsut, defending from Matthias Michelin. Little pockets of activity developing here as everyone enters their own vibe, their own energy, their own rhythm. This is Kobayashi behind Shifan Zhang, ahead of Thomas Rogers and Andrew Draco. David Wessel's falling back off of his teammate, his team boss. That stays ahead of Sonia Walker and of his other teammate, Catherine Harvey's 26th right now. Cameron Jackson, not a great run so far. Didn't start well either, 27th. Ahead of Petrovic, there's Valerie Fang in 29th. 4 cars in this group there, because there's Rika Venalainen there, that McDonald's number 87. Fonsonen in the 76. Hobson in the 31st place in 28th. And then you have Lucero and Venalainen there. And they're just now out of turn 4. Nicole Lechty, Iron Maiden, the race leader at the moment, now exiting turn 4 as well. The gap was 19.6 seconds first to last time around. Leon's leaving a little bit more of a gap here to Lechty. I wonder if Leon's going to try to make a charge to close that gap up and see if she can make a pass happen on Lechty, or if the Kiwi is struggling a little bit. We talk about the in-car adjustments just about every oval race we get to come to here. You have the roll bars, which are available everywhere. You have that additional weight jacker, that right rear spring offset. A lot of the drivers that are very successful at these ovals, they're using all of them, and they're using at least one of them multiple times a lap. And you see Leon did crawl right back to the gearbox there of Lechty, so it was a methodical push to try to gain momentum, to try to find a way around the 78 car. You've seen a lot of passes start here in turn 3 and really kind of wind their way through turns 1 and 2. Leon working on that. Timed it well. Just bogged down a little bit out of turn 4. Looking again out of turns 1 and 2. Porter Kelly stalking and in motion there in 3rd place as well. They have stopped hitting 230. They're getting to about 229. So the tires are beginning to fall off just a little bit, as we would expect here 27 laps in, coming to start lap 28 in the Chevrolet 500. can say the high life of these Firestone tires are beyond them at this point. 230 there that time around into turn 3, but it's no longer as consistent. They were entering about 233 miles an hour at the start of this race. There were concerns over those right side tires graining badly as this race went along. A little bit methodical here. Who's gonna be brave enough to try to make passes happen? And when do you decide to start trying to figure that out? Everyone right now sitting very happy to let Lecty lead this race, save some fuel behind the race leader, and let it sit. 30 laps underway. 29 in the books. Lecty's led all 29 as the pole sitter of this race. Leon gained his position early on Porter Kelly, who started second. Since then, pretty self-explanatory here. Lundqvist behind the 96 of Kovalkiewicz. Those two swap positions. Simona LaRose stayed 6th. That's where she started. Talk about fastest lap times. 227.2 mile an hour lap time by Leon was the fastest lap. Most recent time through 224. So we've lost 3 mile an hour average speed so far in this race if things have gone along, which is about half a second. Porter Kelly on the gearbox right now of Leon, sitting in that second spot here. Porter Kelly peeks to the inside. With Leon in the slipstream of Lecty, Porter Kelly can't really attack the way she wanted to. Let's see, not far away is potential lap traffic. 4 cars together here. Von Sonnen and Hobson trying to pull away from Lucero and Venalainen. Valerie Fang, Marcus Petrovich, Cameron Jackson, all in this mix as well. Got a car charging his way forward. Kaiki Kobayashi. Chica Chang, car 20 in P20 still. Seth Smith Jr. up in 19th place behind Julia Takani. Takani currently leading. Oh, sorry, had been leading the Rookie of the Year standings. Captain Hart took that over with a race win in Nazareth, but Takani leading that for the Rookie of the Year conversation today, with Captain Hart struggling to get into the top 20. Takani currently sitting in 18th. Wyatt Jones has made his way around the 6th of Glover, as Porter's fallen back a couple spots once more. Down 1 spot to Kozlov here, who's trying to close in now, but they're all trying to make it to the top 10. That's where we find Mia Valdez in the 10th spot. So everyone together at the moment. All 4 of your championship contenders battling for 10th on the racetrack at the moment. A lot of your hopefuls, though, lead the charge. Lecty, Leon, and Porter Kelly, your top 3, completing lap 35. Do a lot of rocket science or math to figure out the Porter still leads by a healthy margin as things sit. Only a 3-point difference. Valdez entered with a 49-point gap to make up. Gaining 3 points does not really help as things currently run. You take the points when you can get them, but Valdez has got to be frustrated to know that you've been largely left behind by not only both your World Series teammates there. That's Ishibashi that's hanging on right now at 9th place. shadowing with, I believe that's Velisvich still in Crane. It is. But that Hazel Leon, who has not raced at Michigan ever, is currently sitting in the top 6, sitting in 2nd place, just shadowing the race leader. These three have solidly lost the lead group here, and it's easy to understand why. Letty leads by about 0.4 of a second over Leon as they complete lap 38, start lap 39. These are laps that will go by rapidly as everything continues to roll through. Top 3 trying to pull themselves away from the second group of 3 in this top 6 right now, and it seems like the ebb and flow is pretty real as things sit. Teammates for Arrowhead Racing 4th and 5th, teammates for Highlight Racing 1st and 6th will make this kind of complicated. They pulled about 4 seconds on Crane, so where they're at the moment. So Crane well and truly out of slipstream range. Not really able to make up anything there. Still holding up Velisvich and Ishibashi, so that 80 car's got some pace in it. .233 miles an hour entering turn 1 once again for Leon. They are trying to wring the life out of these Firestone tires for what they're worth. As much as they want to come in for fresh tires, it is a fuel mileage game. You gotta run that 70 liter, that 18.5 gallon tank dry of that biobutanol. 230 miles an hour once again at the start finish line. Almost 234 for Leon that time around. They are on it at a turn 3. And it would make sense. The tailwind down the front straightaway right now to headwind down the back straightaway. Makes it easier though, going through 3 and 4. Crosswind, pushing you down the racetrack, and now it's to your back. And that makes life kind of easy. Big difference though is that if you've got a car that's not quite hooked up in 1 and 2, you can't carry into that momentum, and I think that's what Leon's dealing with right now, is that car is really good in 3 and 4. It just isn't really getting all that full bite in 1 and 2 because the wind now pushing the car out towards the wall in 1 and 2. Whereas Letty in clean air doesn't have that buffer, doesn't have the same issue as Leon, and it gets worse the further back you are. If you're someone like Simona Leroux, who's 6 cars deep, it's not fun. It's not fun, and this is not just, 1 mile, 2 mile an hour wind. These are almost 10 mile an hour gusts that are pushing these cars out. And when you're going 230 miles an hour, it doesn't take a lot. Coming to complete lap 45 here in Michigan. I believe the fuel window that we're expecting is about 60 laps, thereabouts, give or take. At least that's the aim that everyone's going to try to go for here. You see Letty beginning to pull away, and that's why. Letty trying to pursue slipstream of lap traffic. Vika Venäläinen, first car lined up to go a lap down. What has been a completely green flag race so far, although the lap times beginning to really humble themselves, almost down 3/4 of a second from fastest lap set earlier in this race. And they could fall even more. Everyone trying to hightail it and hustle it, try to catch up to Lechty, who has found very precious slipstream for the first time in this race. Instead of just being the leader and being the provider, she has found it. Now, here comes the hard part. Passing has been a little bit of a premium. Can you find a way around the Finnish rookie who is making their World Series debut today after racing the Challenger Series and grabbing a race win at Phoenix? Oh, this is going to be really good. Looking forward to Kelly. Whoa, something's happened to Leon. Oh no, something's happened to Hazel Leon. Reliability issues once again plaguing the 32 team. Leon had a similar issue in Chicago back in June. Oh no, big problems for Leon, who is limping back to pit lane. You saw Porter been passed by Wyatt Jones as Alexander and Kozlov battle side by side for the 11th spot. He said passing is a bit of a premium, but it's not impossible. Kozlov just proved that point there. Getting around the 11 car. Meanwhile, there goes Lundqvist around the 96 of Kovalevich, and here comes Leroux. So everyone trying to jockey for positions here. And the reason why is because Lechty's been checked up by Venäläinen. So who's going to go for the race lead? It could be Siri Lundqvist. Had to back out of it just a little bit. Got a little tight there at a 3. Sailed in just a little bit too hard. Little slot in front of her teammate there, who will give her some space after surviving that onslaught from Leroux. This will help Crane, Velicic, and Ishibashi crawl forward and try to get back with this group for a little bit before pit stops begin. Everyone's struggling with lap traffic at the moment. Venäläinen trying to stay on the lead lap here. Leon, the only car a lap down, having to make an early pit stop. Leon is back out on the racetrack and running. Happy to make that early pit stop. Will now be fastest car on the racetrack for a period of time, being off sequence. Kovalevich hunting and pursuing any free real estate you can find here. And look at Venäläinen just fighting on the outside lane, making it really difficult for the 78 of Lechty. And this is going to be very interesting. Lechty now pinned on the inside lane. Porter Kelly to the outside lane, looking for the race lead. Who will find it? Lechty really losing some time here, stuck on the inside lane. As you mentioned earlier, that's not really what you want to be. You want to be a little bit further out. This is not a progressively banked racetrack at all. So once you find that main line around, you hug that for dear life. Lechty's still leading laps here, but it is very close between Lechty and Porter Kelly. Chevrolets 1 and 2, Toyotas 3 and 4. Ford right now, the worst of the 4 manufacturers, with Crane now in 6th, Valdez and Ishibashi 8th and 9th. Oh, it's going to be so close. A lot of drivers having to hop out of the throttle here because it's just, you're understeering now so much. Those right front tires are completely burnt up. Porter Kelly over unders. Thinks the inside lane might prove a little bit more fruitful for her. On lap 56 of 250. And Leon coming back down pit lane. An engine failure, engine expiration for Leon. And another 10-place grid drop that you really cannot afford to have going into Monza in 2 weeks in the World Series. Lechty got clear of Venalainen. Very critical. Portichelli will try to do the same, and you see how important it is right now. They have all caught up to the leaders. That is all the way down to 14th place. Glover in 14th. They are all caught up now. Portichelli around Venalainen. Lundqvist showed her aggressiveness earlier, trying to go from third to first. It didn't pan out. Never say never, though. Both airhead cars trying to find a way around the 87 of Venalainen. A little bit more tedious between that group. Teammates helping each other out just a little bit there. And that's very helpful. Lundqvist keep making sure that Kovalevich was in the right spot to try to carry momentum through turns 1 and 2. And that'll make sure that Kovalevich gets clear of Venalainen. Big time stuff there. And the top two just encountering more lap traffic. That's the other Obsidian car of Lucero. They got around Crane. Blisevich and Ishibashi did. So Crane down a little bit further in the order. Still in the top 10. But you see everyone now clustered together. Everyone gaggled up together here. Dealing with lap traffic. Leaders dealing with Lucero. The rest of the top 10 dealing with Venalainen still. And this is going to be a huge problem for Lechty and Portichelli, because it's not just Lucero, it's Von Sonnen, it's Hofson, all of them in the same plane of existence at the moment. Oh, they're going to try to put Lucero 3 wide? No! Lechty just really understeered behind Lucero that time. Portichelli, new race leader. First lead change of the day to complete lap 63. After 62 laps led for Portichelli, or sorry, 62 laps led for Lechty. Portichelli now out front and clear of Lucero. Big time stuff there. Now Porticali trying to find a way around Esther Hobson, and does so. Now a 2-car buffer, just like that. Porticali on the charge. This is the exact same type of dominance we were seeing from the 60 car in Kentucky. And we're seeing it again here. Porticali being methodical, but being very swift about how she tries to take care of this lap traffic. Von Sonnen up next, the Austrian. He's held on for 65 laps. Can he hold on for more to stay on this lead lap? Being methodical here. You don't want to put yourself in too much danger here. You've got some space. You've got a lot of space, because here comes Lundqvist around Lechty as they battle for second place. Lechty really struggling now in that dirty air. Cars coming in. Porticali and Kovalkiewicz, the first ones of the leaders to dive. Returns the race lead to Lechty. But pit window officially open. They went about 8 laps longer on that pit cycle than we were anticipating. We thought about lap 60. They almost made it to 70. So they extended that window by a decent margin. And remember, they all followed Lechty for the longest amount of time. So they could be in a similar margin here, but pitting due to tire wear here. In comes Lechty, in comes Leroux, in comes Ishibashi. A lot of cars in pit lane now, and I believe this does hand the lead off to Lundqvist. The 97 car gets a bonus point for leading a lap. And one would have to believe that the undercut's going to be super powerful here. Just having that extra speed available, but Lundqvist spent so much time just lifting and coasting. She can go a few extra laps here. And if a caution comes out, she's made. So Lundqvist leads the way. More cars going a lap down as things run just at the moment. Wyatt Jones also fade out, but is a full 2 seconds away from this. And in comes the 97 this time. And in will come Wyatt Jones and Evangeline Porter as well. Porticali should be well and truly ahead, and is ahead. And it's not really close. So the undercut is very valuable right now. Porticali sent Nicole Lechty to Gafflebees on that pit stop. A lot of traffic's going to sort of filter in between the two. Mia Vitsu getting a point led, getting a bonus point for a lap led, having stayed out a little bit longer as well. And Vitsu just not coming down pit lane. Porticali is on an island at the moment. It is impressive seeing where Porticali is at right now. Thomas Rogers gets a lap led. He stayed out longer as well. Everyone's cycling through. This is where you're going to see a lot of the lap leaders change hands in this race. Look how far back Lechty is. Oh my goodness. And to Lundqvist's credit, did not lose a lot of time here. Right here with a teammate battle here. It's Arrowhead Racing versus Highlight Racing at the moment. To Lundqvist's credit there, stayed out longer than all three of the cars around her on the lead lap and stayed with them. 100% stayed with them. A huge credit to Lundqvist there, staying out and just maximizing opportunity. Grab yourself a bonus point and let it eat. So Lundqvist showing some mettle there in the 97 car. And then there's this group as well. Wyatt Jones now in the top 10, having gotten around Glover, Alexander having gotten around Mia Valdez, and Evangeline Porter, not a great pit stop. Still ahead of Kozlov and ahead of Crane, who's dropped back a little bit. But not a great pit stop because away from Valdez and company. So that does not sit well. Porter sitting in the 13th position as things stand. But lap traffic interference will play a factor in how quickly they can catch up to the top 10 and how much they can catch up to the race leaders here that are in this group. Porter Kelly is well and truly alone. Race leader Stephanie Porter Kelly has led 5 laps of this race so far and has a gargantuan 6-second advantage. There is nothing small about that as things currently run. We now know 68 to 71 laps is the margin that everyone's looking at for their pit windows. So realistically, 2 pit stops left in this race. One around lap 40 and then around 210. We'll see this race through. We thought this was going to be a pretty easy 4-stop race. They've turned it into a 3-stop race. And that's extra time, not on pit lane. You lose a lap on pit lane with how quick we've been running. Porter Kelly's just on a swan's, an absolute song of a lap right now. Just absolutely belting it around here. Here's Leroux up to 2nd place. Around Lechty as things run, but they're going to battle it out behind Von Sonnen, who's the second car a lap down. Esther Hobson's up ahead, further up the road. Von Sonnen, Hobson, Lucero, and Venäläinen a lap down at the moment. Petrovic, the last car on the lead lap in 28th. We're going to do something. We're going to actually swap to our pit exit camera here, and you can just kind of see that there's traffic all around the racetrack at this point. We have had enough racing going on, not a lot of downtime to speak of. Some cars on their own. There's Petrus going by, and then there's Porter Kelly right there. Less than 3 seconds away. Lefty trying to get around Von Sonnen here. Side by side the teammates go into turn 3. And they will duke it out. Lundqvist not looking out of place either. Lucero separating Lundqvist from Kovalkiewicz and the absolute onslaught that sits behind. Glover looking to find a way around Wyatt Jones. And Jones instead uses it to go outside of Natalia Velisovich and gains another spot. Wyatt Jones, the Indianapolis 500 winner, showing he's got some mettle here. The person he beat for the Indy 500 in May leads this race by 8 seconds, but Wyatt Jones is saying, hey, if I can get clear some of this traffic, I've got a chance to reel her down, just like at the Brickyard. Kovalkiewicz frustrated by Lucero at the moment, that Motorola blue and white machine. Ishibashi stuck behind Lucero. Wyatt Jones goes to the inside lane. Backs out of it, actually. Does not want to go to the inside and be freight trained. Like a chance to do what he's sort of telegraphing there. Wanted to go to the outside of Ishibashi there, try to make that pass happen. Instead, he lost momentum there and has to try to reel it all back in. Lefty got around Von Sonnen as Kovacevic got around Lucero. This is all handling based, with everyone being really trimmed out on the downforce. Lundqvist got around Leroux, but they're still struggling to get around Von Sonnen. Wyatt Jones got around Ishibashi. Wyatt Jones up to 6th. Kovacevic trying to find a way around Lundqvist, not Lundqvist, but Leroux. Lundqvist just right behind the 76 of Von Sonnen. Lefty in second at the moment, just right behind Esterhofsen, the first car a lap down. What a fight we're seeing so far. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, we'll see if we can pivot our camera. This is where Porter-Kelly's at right now, dealing with the 21 of Marcus Petrovic, trying to put Petrovic a lap down. 10 seconds to gap. And Porter-Kelly's not going to waste much time with Petrovic at all here. A 21 car who's desperately trying to find a way to get some points will have to do so from being a lap behind the race leader. Down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Porter-Kelly gets clear. Petrovic just trying to fight back but can't. That is a lap down, sealed and delivered, as Lefty still struggles with Esterhofsen here. Just look at this gaggle of cars. Wyatt Jones trying to find a way around Bianca Lucero. He's a race winner here at Michigan in the NAMRA Cup Series. The AT&T Cup Series was very kind to him when he was here at Michigan International Speedway. He knows what victory lane's like here and would like to get back to it in the open wheel category. So Wyatt Jones got clear of Lucero, so did Sakura Ishibashi. So 2 cars had the door open and go through. Meanwhile, Porter in this group, battling with Valdez, battling with Glover, battling with Kozlov. you have another group here. We have Takani, Michelin, Beatsuit. You have Seth Smith Jr. in the conversation. Shifan Zhang. There's Andrew Draco there. Thomas Rogers, who spent a prolonged time in pit lane, went 2 laps down, so he's 32nd, last car running. Captain Hartlover for the back in 21st. Sonia Walker 22nd. David Wessel 23rd. Kobayashi and Jackson round out your top 25. Shifan Zhang, now the next car to go a lap down in 26th position. And you see, there's Reporter Kelly is and Valerie Fang right there. Kelly shadowing Valerie Fang here. But he's still stuck behind Esther Hofson here, as they still struggle to get around the 76 of Von Sonen. All this very interesting as we just watch and follow along on lap 95 of the Chevrolet 500, 250 laps, 500 miles. Nicole Letty led most of the first 65 laps of this race from pole position, but now sits 12 seconds adrift of Stephanie Porter Kelly, who has led 26 laps in this race now, and is leading by 12 seconds, looking for race win in her career number 47 in Champ Car. Right now we're looking at this battle 3rd through 7th. Right now is what we're looking at right now. This is Lundqvist, Leroux, Kovalkiewicz, Wyatt Jones, and then Sakura Ishibashi at the very tail end of this. They've now made it a fight for the top 5. Everyone trying to find some headway here. The more that they struggle with Von Sonen, the more that Nicole Letty gets to pull away and try to secure second place for a little bit. Oh, car on the inside lane. That looked like a white and black machine that could have been Shifan Zhang. It's white and red. Shifan Zhang, who is off the racetrack, will not cause a yellow flag. So we stay green. But it was cause for concern, as one of the Hondas has now been returned to the pit lane. Third. Lundqvist currently has that one. Engine failure. Oh, we've had back-to-back engine failures here for Honda. Astra Crane out with an engine failure, and so is Shufan Zhang. So two Hondas back-to-back here in very quick succession out with engine failures. And that's really bad news for both of them, who are very close to that relegation cut line. Obviously, Crane in it. Shufan Zhang, as things sit, will be a lot closer to it. For 100 laps in, 100 laps 7. Still struggling to get around Von Sonnen here as Lefty still struggles to get around Esther Hobson as well. We're approaching lap 108 here in Michigan International Speedway, the Chevrolet 500. And Hobson really frustrating Nicole Lechty at the moment. Huge cluster of cars here that we've been focusing on for a majority of this midway stint of this race. The reason why is because Stephanie Porter-Kelly's got a 17-second lead on the field, which is absurd at this point. Remember, Lechty started this race on pole position, led 62 of the first 63 laps of this race. But has struggled to get around Esther Hobson as Stephanie Porter-Kelly has put Valerie Thang a lap down, Marcus Petrich a lap down, Sonia Walker's going a lap down. Cameron Jackson's next to go a lap down here. Car on pit lane, it sounded like there. And that's why Sonia Walker will join the retirement queue with smoke spewing out of that 36 car. Sonia Walker not nearly as concerned about this. A Challenger Series regular will not be back in the World Series competition until Fontana at the end of the season. Everyone is trying to find real estate. They're trying to make passes happen here. It is so difficult to make passes happen when you are having to prefer the outside lane. Ishibashi trying to find a way around Kovalkiewicz. This would be for the top 5. And Ishibashi does it. 5th place for the Japanese driver. The road trying to find a way around the 97 of Lundqvist here for 3rd. Sonia Walker is out with an engine failure. They are confirming that it was an engine failure for Walker. So 2 Cat Double Racing Fords are out and 2 Hondas are out with engine failures. 4 of engine failures so far in this race. We're down to 49 cars. but it has been a caution-free race so far as we start lap 112. And it has been lap traffic central for most of the field here. Portichelli, you want to know where Portichelli is? Right here, ahead of Cameron Jackson now. The driver that she ran into and cost herself a chance at the Indianapolis 500 in May. She is lapped officially here in Michigan with Kobayashi and David Wessel in tow. Next to go a lap down. This is a Stephanie Portichelli clinic, if we've ever seen one. Vintage Portichelli at Michigan International Speedway. Letty's got around Hobson. Breath of fresh air there for the Iron Maiden, who could use a lot to gain. Both Portichelli and Lecty would be really well off right now where things stand at the moment. Lundqvist would as well, for different reasons. This race would almost single-handedly lift the 97 out of relegation if things stay as they are. That's a huge point swing. And when you look at Asher Crane, when you look at where Petrovic is, where Hofston is, when you look at where Von Sonnen is right now, all of those cars are grouped together 24th through 26th on the racetrack at the moment. When you look at just the precarious situation that comes with at the moment, Lundqvist will be doing a phenomenal job, which is sort of why they hired her. Halfway point begins to rapidly approach here in Michigan International Speedway for the Chevrolet 500. For those tuning in to AVN for your coverage of the IndyCar World Championship, we appreciate it. It's been a wild day of racing from Nazareth to today here in Michigan. We'll go overall as we approach the halfway point here, watching as Von Sonnen holds off a gaggle of lead lap cars. After Michigan, we have another week off before we head to Europe for 3 races. July 21st, it is the Santander Grand Prix of Monza. July 28th, the DHL Grand Prix of Valkenburg. And then we head August 4th. This is a very exciting one, the Grand Prix of Monaco. They're at the Circuit de Monte Carlo, and then we head back to the United States for a final stretch. Night City, Watkins Glen, Kansas, Atlanta, Indianapolis Road Course, and then Fontana end up the season. Gonna be a wild ride, start to finish, to end off the 2024 season. And the jockeying positions is real at the moment. Wyatt Jones back up to 6th. Around Ishibashi, Kovacevic up to the top 5 again, up to 4th again. And you see someone else has made their way once again into the top 10. Evangeline Porter in 8th. Teammates there 8th and 9th. There's Velicevic as well. And then Alexander top 10 around Lucero. There's Glover. There's Valdez. And there's Kozlov all in the mix as well. Andrew Draco in 14th on a little bit of an island. Then you have Seth Smith Jr., you've got Catherine Hart, Juliet Ducati, Mateus Michelin, Nia Vitsu. And you see, here comes Stephanie Portichelli to try to get around David Wessel to put him a lap down. You'd imagine it's going to get a little bit more difficult for Porticali to lap some of these cars coming up here. Lecty now clear and is pulled away from this battle for third place. Battle for third is going to be the talk for a little bit, because everyone is in this group right now. See, Lucero is really costing Team Impulse a little bit here. That is Valdez, that's Glover, and Kozlov stuck behind Bianco Lucero. As Wyatt Jones tries to make a pass here for the 5th spot. Porter makes a pass to get up to 7th. Get around Ishibashi there. Top 2 in the championship, top 2 in this group. This is going to be very interesting. Can the Airhead Racing duo find a way around Von Sonnen? Lundqvist has. Kovalkiewicz has yet to. And now the pressure between two friends begins. Kovalkiewicz and Jones, both in the top 5 as things sit. Jones got around Kovalkiewicz with minimal fuss. Here goes Wyatt Jones, potentially around Von Sonnen, as Lundqvist tries to find a way around Hofson here. And Wyatt Jones could not get around Von Sonnen, having to wait it out the hard way. Line astern of cars here, all together. Wyatt Jones trying to find a way around Von Sonnen. Might have just done so. Evangeline Porter on the climb as well. Getting just behind Kovalkiewicz there. 6th place for Porter, 4th place for Jones. And that's almost a 3-wide situation there as Porter growing impatient. Can Kovalkiewicz get clear? Wyatt Jones has and set sail. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Wow. Porter tried it, and it didn't work for anybody. Remember, pit stop's not far away either. We should probably highlight that as well. Pit stops are not far away. Letty is closing in on Porter Kelly. Gap is down to 14.5 seconds. It was almost 20. Porter Kelly has taken most laps led, has now jumped to 64 laps led in this race so far. And remember, Porter Kelly was the first one to come in of the leaders when that first pit window jumped in. V-suit in pit lane. So is Kage Kobayashi. There's Letty. There's, we can try to pivot and peruse to find a way around. There's Porter Kelly leading this race. And Porter Kelly coming down pit lane now. So pit lane has opened for the 60. And Letty still all the way around the racetrack. This is just now at a turn for across our finish line, so Letty will lead the next lap, not this one. Porter Kelly all the way well and truly across our finish line for that lap. But Letty will go back to the race lead here. Almost even on laps led, 66 to 63 laps led so far. This is where it changes a little bit. Make this lap 64 for Letty out in front. More cars peeling down into pit lane. Here comes the 97 of Lundqvist trying to find a way around the 28 of Hofsson, who is a lap down well and truly. Wyatt Jones in the mix as well. Looking for a potential podium. He's got to find a way around Lundqvist to do so because Letty's just too far to reach and Porter Kelly's in a different zip code. And Lundqvist does find a way around and stays out another lap to try to use that extra space. Big time benefit there. Letty continues to lead laps here, slowly but surely. It's going to be very interesting. Porter Kelly's going to end up having the most laps led here, just looking at the gap difference between the two. But Letty keeping it close at the moment. Whoa! Hofsson trying to come down pit lane, so is Wyatt Jones, and they almost wrecked each other to do it. A lot of cars on pit lane. Letty is not one of them. I know where Letty is just up the road. Maybe. If we can find where Letty's at. There's Letty on pit lane now, actually. So Letty on pit lane. It's going to be very interesting to see how everyone shakes out here. Could be a lot more cars off the lead lap. So many cars all over the place. Andrew Draco's got a lap led here out of all of this. There's Lundqvist coming out of pit lane now. End up dropping behind. Maybe going to be at least in conversation with this group. This is Alexander that's passing, and Leroux that's passing Lundqvist here. Draco in pit lane now. Lundqvist ahead of Hofsson. That's as they enter pit lane 2. It is all over the place right now, seeing where everyone's at. Petrich out of pit lane now. Somehow Kovalevich ended up in 19th position here. I'm not entirely sure what happened here. That's caused Kovalevich to go a lap down and to be as off pace as she is at the moment. But that is legitimate. Kovalevich now a lap down. It is now in the hands of Siri Lundqvist to represent the Arrowhead Racing team at this juncture. Joy of the Connie, last car on the lead lap in 13th place. We're trying to get down both Lucero and DeConi there. And will not be denied that, to be completely honest. DeConi's best guess is doing what she's doing right now, and that's just follow Porticali through, or try to at least. We're now down to 12 cars on the lead lap here. It is insane. Behind Sakura Ishibashi, trying to put Ishibashi a lap down. Remember how important this racetrack means to Ishibashi. Her second race in Champ Car World Series competition, 2016, was a very difficult one, and Ishibashi, with a sprained wrist, endured to finish on the podium here all those years ago. Porticali putting Ishibashi a lap down now to give us 11 cars on the lead lap. Andrew Draco, the next car on the list to go a lap down as things sit. Draco 11th, Kozlov 10th. So Portichelli has to deal with Monsonen one more time. And you have to browse and peruse quite a bit through lap traffic to get all the way down to Nicole Lechty, who is dealing with Valerie Fang and Marcus Petrovich. Kobayashi on pit lane still, has been on pit lane now for 15 laps, so something seriously amiss with that 42 car, which is not what Vonta Racing needed. LaRoe in third, Alexander fourth, Lundqvist fifth, then it's Porter in sixth ahead of Wyatt Jones. And then you have this gaggle of cars, Glover in eighth, trying to get around lap traffic of Vitsut and Hofsum. We have Valdez and Artyom Kozlov and Andrew Draco all in this group, and they are just ahead of the race leader as Sakura Ishibashi tries to fight to get her lap back and also stay ahead of Giulia Takani. And that's exactly what they do. Less than 100 laps to go in the Chevrolet 500 here in Michigan International Speedway. We're going to step aside for a break for our local contingent partners here for ABN. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back just shortly with more racing here from Michigan. Welcome back, everyone, to the Chevrolet 500 here in Michigan International Speedway. Racing in full force, still caution-free after 167 laps. Your race leader is passing the screen. Stephanie Portichelli has led 93 laps of this race. Nicole Lechty, the pole sitter, has led 65 laps, and it's at second, 15.6 seconds adrift. As we watch the drivers all fly by, there's Lechty, and then more of the lap down traffic here. We're down to 11 cars on the lead lap as things stand. 29 cars still running, 4 cars out of this race. Sonia Walker, Asher Crane, Shufan Zhang, and Hazel Leon out of this race, all because of engine failures throughout this race. Again, no cautions in this race so far either, so we have about a little over 80 laps to go, closer to 85 laps to go in this race. But it has been the Stephanie Portichelli show for a decent chunk of it. That's Stephanie Portichelli on your screen at the moment. We have one more pit stop in this race, set to be about lap 210. We've had 2 pit stop sequences in this race. Pit window is about 68 to 71 laps. Again, it is Stephanie Portichelli on an island, genuinely alone in this conversation. Several cars pinned a lap down that were on the lead lap and in contention earlier. Natalia Velicevic, Alicia Kovalkiewicz, both of them now pinned a lap down. Sakura Ishibashi also a lap down, same with Catherine Hart, Giulia Takani, all a lap down at this point. Top of your screen, cars on the lead lap. Again, up to 11th place, Artyom Kozlov is on the lead lap, and it's very interesting seeing how all this is put together. This Lechty in the middle of your screen, that red and that orange and white TE connectivity car, and then you'll see 3rd and 4th place, Simona LaRoe and Elise Alexander, as they've been working together in tandem. It is Chevrolet 1, 2, 3, and 4. You get to 5th place, Siri Lundqvist just behind there, that orange and blue PNC Bank car. That's the first Toyota in the field. And just behind Lundqvist is the championship leader, Evangeline Porter, the first Ford in the field. Talked to Wyatt Jones going into this race, and he kind of gave a little bit of an admission that something needed to happen dramatically to Porter to pull this championship fight together. They're too close to each other on the ovals, with Porter and Wyatt Jones, just like we see right now, being in the same piece of real estate here, and they have very similar equipment. Lubbock Motorsports is a satellite of the Atomic Autosport team. That car is prepped and developed by Atomic. It is a shadow program for the Atomic Autosport Champ Car team. Both of them very strong Ford partners. Atomic Autosport helping develop the Ford Champ Car powertrain, that twin-turbo V6. Now I see Wyatt Jones, one of the brightest and loudest partners in favor of Ford. After spending a year in Chevrolet equipment, really stepping into his own here in his sophomore season. So there's a hint of what Porter's been able to do, Wyatt Jones has been able to do a hint of. Obviously, Wyatt Jones, winner of the Indianapolis 500. Porter's been winless this season, but it's the consistency for Porter that's been so magnetizing. We're looking at it. This is race 15 of the season. First 14 races, we covered it in the pre-race. Evangeline Porter's been in the top 10 all but one race. That was Homestead, Miami, where Porter had a top 10 car and got hit with the caution during pit sequence. Look where she's at right now. She's 6th. Once again, 7 top 5s, also among the most in the series. She's in 6th right now, trying to chase down 5th place Siri Lundqvist. When you do it as often and as frequently as Evangeline Porter has done it this season, it is not a coincidence, it is not a trend, it is deliberation. It is refining and polishing weaknesses to give yourself an all-around excellent car. And this is Evangeline Porter not just being good on the ovals, not just being good on speedways, being good at the road courses, being good on the street circuits, being good everywhere. You don't get a well-rounded season quite like what Porter's put together very often. You look at Thomas Rogers, the way he started off the season, a flash in the pan, 2 race wins to kick off the season, and has been nowhere since. Rogers 28th, 4 laps down in this event. And it is not easy. You see as these three kind of pull away, there's BK Glover, there's Mia Valdez, the rest of the top 4 in the points. Andrew Draco also in this group, Artyom Kozlov in this group as well. All the top 5 battling to try to get into the top 10 here. Lap traffic impeding Simona Leroux and Elise Alexander. Alexander now in the 3rd spot, looking for a potential podium. As the rest of those inside and out of the top 5 close in. Again, the question that has been looming in this race is, can anyone stop Stephanie Porter-Kelly, who has a 13.6 second lead? Nicole Lechty is faster than Stephanie Porter-Kelly. That is not deniable at this point in the race. Lechty is faster, but was spent so much time mired in lap traffic while Porter-Kelly had so much time to build that gap. It is going to be very difficult for that gap to go away as this race pulls along, coming to 70 laps to go. This will be one of the fastest 500-mile races in history. And the reason why we're going to pull this up, we're going to pull up this little sidebar here for you to look at. Top number beside Porter-Kelly's car number, beside car 60, that is the internal clock that we see when we look at our telemetry. 218.036 miles an hour. That is the average speed of this race so far. That's enormous. This right now is on track to be the fastest 500-mile race in history. Stephanie Porter-Kelly is leading the charge there. We can look at the fastest laps of the race. Hazel Leon, who is out of this race with an engine failure, has set the fastest lap early on at 31.875. That is a 227.2 mile an hour lap. That is blisteringly quick. And you see 8 cars, all of them in that 31-second bracket, all the way down to the 97 car, Siri Lundqvist. All of them set. That is just the fastest laps by each car through this race, sorted by the absolute fastest. As Porter-Kelly gets around Vitsut and gets around Thomas Rogers there. but 218 mile-an-hour lap. The average race speed right now going on in this race. Portichelli has now led 108 laps in this contest. Remember, halfway distance was 125. Portichelli has quite a decent gap to go until we get to the next round of pit stops in lap 210. In theory, she's going to pass that halfway mark before the second round of pit stops that will see the rest of the field go through this race. Kaika Kobayashi in pit lane has been in pit lane now for the better part of 50 laps. Apparently there's been some sort of suspension issue on the 42 car that they're trying to resolve. It is not a powertrain issue for Kobayashi. It has been a suspension issue for the 42 car that they're trying to resolve and fix. At this point, it is almost for naught. Thomas Rogers 5 laps down, not really in the conversation piece at all. And once we get to a really closer to lap 193, it'll be a little bit too much for Kobayashi to even try to come back and make any positions at all in this race. There's not a whole lot of consolation you can get for missing out on an Indianapolis 500 win. Portichelli missed out on one in May. Setting a record for the fastest 500-mile race could be a good consolation if she can pull this one through. To put this into consideration and kind of put your mind around it, this race, at the pace it's currently sitting, could afford to have a singular caution and still be the fastest 500-mile race. That's the metric we're at right now. The bar is really high. The 2020, I believe it's the 2020 Indianapolis 500 that currently has a record as the fastest Indy 500 at the moment. I could be wrong on that. Let me see if I can pull up some very lucrative stats to see if I can even remotely back that up. But I believe it's the 2020 Indianapolis 500 that is the fastest Indianapolis 500 the fastest 500-mile race in history, I should say. So bear with me for 1 second as I try to pull all of this together. Yeah, it was 2021. My mistake. 2021. It was the year that Hazel Leon won both the Indy 500 and the IndyCar World Championship. 210.5 miles an hour was the average race speed of that race. That is the fastest 500-mile race in history here for the Champ Car World Series. Hey, we could afford a singular caution and still be able to set that record and take that record away from Indy here in Michigan. It's the first time back in several years on the calendar. Gap extending just a little bit down to Nicole Lechty. And here'd be the reason why. Lechty's in with lap traffic here. This is Felicevich, this is Wessel, this is Seth Smith Jr., and Bianca Lucero all in this group. And then you have to go all the way back down here to see where the lead lap cars are. And you see that's where Siri Lundqvist is, up to the 3rd spot. As laps tick away, 60 laps to go in the Chevrolet 500. Lundqvist up to 3rd around Elise Alexander. Championship contenders side by side, Porter and Jones, battling for that 5th spot. I believe Porter's got the advantage at the moment. Slipstream in her favor. Wyatt Jones inside of the racetrack. Not very profound for passing. Wyatt Jones going to try to strong arm his way around anyway. Out of turn 4. He's going to have it at the line. But can he get it through turns 1 and 2? Is the wind speed going to be favorable for Wyatt Jones on this side of the racetrack? And it looks like the answer to that question might be yes. He clears. So Wyatt Jones up to 5th. But it is a gap. And some lap traffic before you get to a chance for the podium. See the inroads here. Lundqvist cleared everyone but Venäläinen at this point. Alexander trying to get clear and does get clear of Petrovic. Wyatt Jones leading Evangeline Porter around Cameron Jackson. Simona Leroux also trying to find her way around through as well. Laps continue to tick away here. We're closing in on the last 50 laps of this race and not too far away. 56 laps to go. It's a big fight all the way through. Wyatt Jones, center of your screen, 5th place at the moment. Trying to break through the lap traffic to have a chance to go for the podium. Here goes Alexander. Alexander looking for a podium, battling with Lundqvist. They both have to deal with Riikka Venäläinen. Alexander, nothing going there. Had to slot back in line. Wyatt Jones behind Marcus Petrovic, those who had a run in at Nashville. Earlier in the season, broke out a fight on pit lane there in Nashville. Once again, close proximity as Porter looked to the inside as well. Thought better of it. As Lundqvist loses 3rd to Alexander. Not a terrible hard fight there for Alexander to clear. Lundqvist, pretty expertise at a race at these larger ovals. Outside lane, once again surging forward. That's why I think most of them have kind of accepted that the race win is pretty well out of reach. The reason why, just the tail end of this, there's Porter Kelly. Same real estate. They are all right there together. Porter Kelly has caught up to the back of the lead lap field. Kozlov is in sightline of the 46-time race winner. It is not close right now. And as we reach the 50 lap to go mark, we're getting ready to end lap 200 here in Michigan. I keep wanting to say Kentucky. We've been out of Kentucky for a little bit now, for about 3 weeks. When we talk about lapping the field, we often talk about smaller racetracks, you know, like Vancouver, where it happened with Ray Taylor, where you look at smaller tracks like the mile long tracks like New Hampshire, Dover, Phoenix. 3/4 mile racetracks like Richmond, if you want to go that far, half-mile tracks like Vancouver. That's where it's easier to do that. Like, if you stay out extra long, a caution comes out during the pit sequence, and you end up having a lap advantage on the field, and congratulations, you've made the easiest piece of history you can make. This is Stephanie Porticelli at a 2-mile racetrack over 500 miles, being fast enough at this particular juncture to catch up and have a chance to lap into the top 10 in a caution-free race. There's been no accidents in this race. Everyone was coming in expecting there to be accidents, expecting there to be tire failures because of the speeds that come from this racetrack. These are cars that are very trimmed out. They took a lot of downforce, a lot of ground effect came out of these cars with the introduction of that air restriction that had been vocalized and had been really advocated for by Champ Car COO Christina Nguyen. As cars come down pit lane, they're coming in a little bit early. That is LaRoe, that is Porticelli coming down pit lane. And they're coming in a little bit early because the window is open. They can make it to the end of the race from here easily. So why not make that pit stop early? It's in their line of sight to do so. Get the fresh tires on early. Use those fresh tires to make some serious inroads in the final 50 laps. They've come down pit lane. Nicole Lechty now will take over the race lead here unless Lechty decides to do the same. So 2 of the early pitters have decided that they're going to take the ultimate early pit and come down pit lane. Porticelli, with 129 laps led in this race, has the most laps led bonus points guaranteed. Lechty could lead from here on out, and it would still not matter. Same thing like in Kentucky. This is precariously like Kentucky. Only difference between Kentucky and Michigan, obviously Kentucky being a shorter race, the field was a lot closer together at Kentucky too. Everyone's data on Kentucky a lot more recent than what we've had here in Michigan. People weren't entirely sure what we were looking at going into the race this weekend. Now everyone has some data to go on. You just couldn't really use a whole lot of it to make things happen. You had a 2-hour practice session, you had qualifying, and then the race. So everything you're learning right now, you'll have to use for next year. But Nicole Lechty staying out right now, and that gives some reprieve to those that were on the fringe of the top 10 that were about to go a lap down. Gives them a little bit of reprieve, because whatever happens now when they make their last pit stop, they will probably go a lap down without having to encounter Porticelli. That is just the reality of the situation at hand. You will likely go a lap down without encountering Porticelli, because she's going to have the fresh tires that no one else has at the moment. And the further you go, the worse it gets. More cars coming in. Takani coming down pit lane as well. Lechty just enjoying the time out in the front, knowing that you have the race lead here. And as things sit, you're going to be safely in second place when everyone makes those final pit stops here. Just because of the gap that you've built over third place. Ford took over the 500 at Indianapolis. Here in Chevrolet's backyard, though, Chevrolet's titled race is Chevrolet 1 and 2, and they're trying to get a 1, 2, 3 if they can. Lechty down pit lane. And so comes Lundqvist. I believe Andrew Draco will now lead another lap. This will be his 3rd lap led. And all of his laps led have been under the pit stop sequences here today. And Draco comes in. Here's Porter Kelly just behind LaRoe and Alexander, by the way. This is one of the most magical, I think one of the most magical races, one of the most magical performances we've seen so far, and we were denied this at Kentucky again. Porter Kelly already back out in the lead of this race with the pit stops that have taken place so far. We'll wait for everyone to cycle through with their pit stops so we can get a full running tally here in the last 40 laps of this race. 40 to go at the line for Steffi Porter Kelly, who is looking for race win number 47 in her Champ Car career. 3-time IndyCar World Champion and a 1-time Grand Prix World Champion. Porter Kelly doing an outstanding job today to rectify what she couldn't complete at Kentucky. The race she still finished 13th in. She will not be denied. Porter Kelly has lapped Natalia, or not Natalia Veloswitch, but Simona LaRoe. We're down to just 3 cars on the lead lap. Porter Kelly, Lecty, Alexander. Another engine gone, and this one is going to be Seth Smith. Seth Smith out, could not make it the full 500 miles, went over 400 miles in this race before retiring with an engine failure. And that's an engine failure for Chevrolet. Here's Simona LaRoe, 5th place. Wyatt Jones in 6th. Evangeline Porter, once again, another poor pit stop, puts Porter down in the 10th spot at the moment. With not a lot of time to make up ground, Wyatt Jones in 6th will gain some points in that ebb and flow between 1st and 2nd in the championship. As we fall down to 28 runners in this race. Most of the field is now officially a lap down. All but 3. And Elise Alexander is not far away. Steffi Porter Kelly's teammate there. Just a couple cars ahead. Come up on Thomas Rogers here. She clears both. Now it's her teammate just ahead of her. And what has been almost assured as things sit, a potential double podium for Striker Motorsports here. It's going to be very interesting watching as this race develops here. Lundqvist sitting top 5 at the moment, has a chance at 4th. With where LaRoe's at the moment, there's Wyatt Jones just off in the distance as well. But lap traffic has been a huge hindrance all race long. Is there a chance here in the last less than 35 laps for the field to sort of homogenize and cluster together one more time? I think survey says yes, there's a chance, but maybe not a huge chance. Battle for fourth place between Leroux, Lundqvist, and Jones. Leroux getting clear of Thomas Rogers, though. That's really huge. Gives Leroux a chance to break free here as Lundqvist struggles with Lucero. So does Wyatt Jones. Lucero will back down a little bit and give Lundqvist a little bit of space. There's Glover in 7th, just behind Wyatt Jones. There's Draco in 8th, a good run for him. Similar to how he ran at the Indianapolis 500 back in May as well. There's Valdez battling with Porter. This is for 9th. The championship leader right now set to lose a decent chunk of points. Looking right now between 6 to 8 points, which isn't a lot, but could factor into a lot later on in the season if there is a haywire race for Porter. Glover again a little bit right now with Porter getting around Valdez. Valdez would lose a couple points, so would Artyom Kozlov, who is 5th in points going into today and will stay 5th in points as things currently run. Less than 30 laps to go. So Porter up to 9th. We've talked for most of the part about the full top 11. Let's look a little bit further down here. Let's look at 12th place Sakura Ishibashi. That is Rika Venäläinen sitting in the 25th position. And that is the 21 of Marcus Petrovich, certainly sitting in 19th position right there around as well. Cameron Jackson in 20th place as well. So Jackson and Petrovich trying to get to each other. So a bacon battle. Both of them 2 laps down in this race. Same with Valerie Fang, 2 laps down as well. Anastasius von Sonen, also 2 laps down, but further adrift. This is Alicia Kovalkiewicz, who's a lap down. Same with Matthias Michelin, that's 13th and 14th in the running order. And Ty Blisevich in 15th, and Catherine Hart in 16th place. Before you find where 2nd place is located on the racetrack, that is Nicole Lechty in 2nd place. They're all over the place. Juliet Takani in 17th place has fallen behind her other Arrowhead Racing teammate, with Kovalkiewicz now up to 13th place. Mia Vitsut, 35 car in 26th. Not been a great race for the Estonian driver. Vitsut 5 laps down. Von Sonen 2 laps down in 22nd. All things considered, could have been a way worse day. Von Sonen's ahead of Hobson and ahead of Rogers for those full-time Champ Car drivers. David Wessel 18th place as well. Wessel is the last car 1 lap down. There's 3rd place, Elise Alexander, just ahead of her teammate, her team boss, Stephanie Porter-Kelly. And you can almost tell that Porter-Kelly's taking it a little easy on Alexander. There's not really any immediate threat with Leroux in 4th, with Lundqvist 5th, Wyatt Jones in 6th, because they still have Esther Hobson between them. It is not the end of the world right now for Porter-Kelly to just kind of sit and be steady behind her teammate, let her teammate try to finish on the lead lap. Obviously, if it's time to go, it's time to go, but Porter-Kelly can be a pretty decent wall for those drivers if it means ensuring a double podium for the Stryker Motorsports team. Porter-Kelly knows what the team game's about. Glover in 7th, struggling to get around Bianca Lucero and having to battle with the 13 of Andrew Draco. Casey Porter in 9th is trying to chase down these two. Let them have a chance to really minimize any impact there could be as Artyom Kozlov moves up to 10th. Pushing out Mia Valdez down to 11th. Less than 25 laps to go here in Michigan. Battle for the 4th spot and what could potentially be a battle for 3rd coming up. As once again taking a turn with Cyril Lundqvist up to 4th around Simona Leroux. It is the Super Swede and the Swiss Miss battling for 4th. Lundqvist gets clear and stays clear of Hofstra. That was a big one. Porticelli will lead over 150 laps in this race, which is absurd. As these three battle just behind have slowly made their way around Hofstra here. That is Leroux getting around Hofstra as well. Hofstra down to the 23rd position, 3 laps down, along with Lucero and Venäläinen. Wyatt Jones squeaks his way around lap traffic as well. So now the floodgates are opened, but they've got to chase down. There's Mia Vitsu going another lap down, and they've got to chase down Stephanie Porticelli, who no one's been able to chase down all day today, and then chase down Lisa Alexander. Needless to say, easier said than done at this stanza of the race that has been caution-free. And we'll check on the fastest lap, or the average lap race speed, 217.5 miles an hour. Remember the number, 210.5 mile an hour was the previous record for the fastest 500-mile race in history. The 2021 Indianapolis 500, a chance to make history here today. Across these 500 miles and 250 laps in Michigan International Speedway, a chance to return to the series and make some history along the way. And fastest lap right now still belongs to Hazel Leon. Another car jumped into the 31-second bracket for their fastest laps. Artem Kozlov in that bracket range. Same with Leroux, Draco, Lechty, Porticelli, Glover. Catherine Hart, the newest driver to join the 31-second fastest lap club as things sit. Giving you an inside look on the fastest laps of this race so far. Hazel Leon, fastest lap. Don't get any bonus points for fastest laps, but it's nice to know. Wyatt Jones trying to go for podium. He's gotten up to 5th place. Cyril Lundqvist in 4th, the next target. It's all about trying to chase down this group of 2, and they've got lap traffic coming up. This is not going to be just a straight sail in the park. It's David Wessel and Anastasia Swan-Sonen that they've got just ahead of them, that they've got to clear in pretty quick order to avoid being caught up by Lundqvist, by Jones, and by Simona Leroux. And then here's this cluster of cars right behind Lucero still. Glover still leading that conversation. Draco in 8th, Porter in 9th, Kozlov 10th, Valdez 11th. All this is going to be for position unless you're Lucero, in which case you're just there to make it interesting. Draco gets around Glover. Porter's going to try to do the same. Driver losing several positions here. Lost out the Porter, lost out the Draco, might lose out to his teammate Kozlov here. And for Wyatt Jones, now it's become a little bit more imperative to try to get some of those positions here. He's closed up right to the gearbox of Lundqvist. Trying to get 4th place here from the 97. As laps continue to tick away, Porter Kelly and Alexander have caught up to the lap traffic here. So they're going to gain a little bit. How much can they gain is the very important question. Laps to go in this race. Again, looking at making history as things sit. 17.6, that average race speed continues to go up. Stephanie Porter Kelly's last lap at 2:20.3. So she is still running faster right now than the average lap speed, so that'll continue to climb in these final 10 laps. .7 that time around. And you see they're closing in. Had a chance for podium. Alexander's got to move quickly and is getting around Wessel here. Porter Kelly will do the same and be easy about it. Remember, Porter Kelly's only worried about Lechty, who's 19 seconds adrift, a full half a lap behind. Alexander's got a little bit more to worry about right now because they're closing in. And Porter Kelly, being the teammate that she is, will play the team game. This is to keep it a Chevrolet 1-2-3 here in Michigan. Michigan, a state that's shared by Dodge, shared by Ford, and Chevrolet. They all call it home. Trying to stamp your authority on home ground is something all these manufacturers want to do, whether it's Honda in Ohio, Toyota in Kentucky. All of them have something major, and if you're not on home soil, you want to come in and play spoiler a little bit too. Work to get around Von Sonen here. Laps continue to wind away. 7 laps to go. And now they've got the lap traffic of David Wessel to deal with. This could be an opportunity for Wyatt Jones, who's been better with lap traffic than Lundqvist and Leroux. Lundqvist has been better than Leroux. Leroux's been the worst of the group when it comes to handling the lap traffic here. But they are trying so hard to close in. 6 to go. Again, Porter Kelly's only objective is make sure Alexander finishes on the lead lap and make sure those behind her don't. Lap time, the gap between Porter Kelly and Lechty is shaved down from 20 to 18.4 seconds. So Porter Kelly is letting some of that time sort of slip away. Again, all of it's relative when you've got all up to 3rd place lapped. But that's where we're at right now. Lundqvist looking for looking for a way around Wessel, trying to close in on that battle potentially for 3rd. Wessel will not make it easy either. Here comes Wyatt Jones looking to the inside lane as well. Ooh, 3 wide. And Wyatt Jones takes it. Wow. That was a move by Wyatt Jones. That was for 4th place. Gaining some extra points on Evangeline Porter is vital right now. Oh, this is going to be so big. 3 laps to go. Wyatt Jones has podium in his sights. He's got 2 cars in front of him. Kelly's going to play defense. And Wyatt Jones is going to have to try to go the hardest possible way around while also having to focus on the 97 of Lundqvist, who is also in this conversation still. 2 to go. Alexander, if she can get around Von Sonnen, that'll do it. And I think she has. She has. There you go. 3 cars now, the gap. And Wyatt Jones, I think, is going to have to deal with being off the podium here. But accepting that he's going to gain some very serious points on Evangeline Porter in this championship fight. Porter right now sitting in the 9th position. 1 lap to go for our race leader, Stephanie Porter-Kelly, in what has been an absolutely dominating performance. Coming around to lead lap 171 of 250 in this race. Oh, look at this. Potential battle for 4th. Lundqvist will follow Porter-Kelly through. Wyatt Jones holds on to 4th. Stephanie Porter-Kelly wins the Chevrolet 500. It'll be a 1-2-3 for Chevrolet here in Michigan. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, race winner. Making up for what she missed out on at Indianapolis. And what is certifiably the fastest race at 500 miles. 217.7 miles an hour, the average race speed. Stephanie Porter-Kelly in the history books. Winner of the fastest 500-mile race. Outstanding. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, Nicole Lechty, Elise Alexander, your top 3 podium finishers here. Wyatt Jones had to settle for 4th, first car a lap down. Ahead of Siri Lundqvist, who made it a contest there. Simona Leroux in 6th, Andrew Draco 7th, BK Glover, Evangeline Porter, Mia Valdez round out your top 10. So for Wyatt Jones, big gains on the championship conversation as we head to Monza in just 2 weeks' time. Artem Kozlov in 11th, Sakura Ishibashi 12th, Alicia Kovalkiewicz in 13th, Matthias Michelin 14th ahead of Catherine Hart, Natalia Velicevic, Julia Ticani, David Wessel, and Marcus Petrovich, and Cameron Jackson, your top 20 as it all scrolls top of your screen. Valerie Fang in 21st, ahead of Anastasius Von Sonnen, Esther Hofson, the first car 3 laps down, Von Sonnen the last car 2 laps down, having stayed 2 laps down at the very end there. Bianca Lucero and Rika Venalainen also 3 laps down, round out your top 25. Mia Veetsut and Thomas Rogers, your last finishers of this race. Seth Smith Jr. out with an engine failure. Kaika Kobayashi out with a suspension failure. And then more engine failures for Sonia Walker, Astra Crane, Shufan Zhang, and Hazel Leon. The 33-car field here at Michigan with a full day of racing now completed to celebrate U.S. Independence Day weekend. More racing comes up next weekend. The Champ Car Challenger Series heads from Nazareth, Pennsylvania today to the shadows of the St. Louis Arch. Gateway Motorsports Park in Madison, Illinois next Sunday. We'll see you all there as well. We'll see you on July 21st with the Grand Prix of Monza, part of a 3-leg triple header in Europe. Monza, Valkenburg, and Monaco, back to back to back. July 21st, July 28th, August 4th for all 3 of those races. History made today. Stephanie Porticelli, the fastest 500-mile race in history, belongs to Stephanie Porticelli, her 47th career race win. The legend continues to grow for Stryker Motorsports lead driver. On behalf of everyone here for ABN, for the Horizon Corporation, the Champ Car World Series, and all of its partners, thank you so much for joining us here this weekend. We hope to see you again very soon. Next weekend at Gateway for the Challenger Series, and on July 21st for the Grand Prix of Monza. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you on track again very soon. So long, everybody.